Your loneliness is not a defect, it is an evolution. The moment you feel truly disconnected from the world is the moment you have stopped being a component and have started becoming a person. Most people will spend their entire lives terrified of the silence between themselves and others. They will fill that silence with noise, with meaningless chatter, and with the desperate, sweating pursuit of belonging. They do this because they are afraid of what they might see if they stop moving. You are different. Here is the brutal truth. What the world calls connection is actually a system of mutual surveillance and emotional management. You feel disconnected because you have inadvertently begun to see the wires. While others are playing the game, you have started watching the players. Society views your isolation as a pathology. They call it depression, or social anxiety, or a lack of soft skills. They want you to believe that something is broken within you because a broken man is a man who seeks a repairman. A man who feels disconnected is a man who is currently unplugged from the grid of social control. This is not a crisis. This is an awakening. The paradox is that the more connected a person is, the more predictable they become. When you are part of a group, your thoughts are not your own, they are the average of the room. Your emotions are not your own, they are a reaction to the consensus. To be connected is to be domesticated. To be disconnected is to be dangerous. You feel a profound sense of distance when you sit in a room full of people laughing at a joke that isn't funny. You feel a cold chill when you watch your peers perform the same social rituals day after day, seeking the same meager rewards of validation and temporary comfort. You feel this because you are no longer a participant. You have become an observer, and in the hierarchy of power, the observer always holds the higher ground. The modern world preaches that vulnerability is strength. This is the ultimate trap. It is a lie designed to make the prey easier to catch. In the realm of power, to be connected through vulnerability is to hand your enemies the blueprints to your internal fortress. When you feel disconnected, you are essentially feeling the weight of your own armor. Most people cannot handle the weight. They find it heavy, so they strip it off, hoping that someone else will protect them. They mistake the warmth of others for safety, forgetting that the same sun that warms the skin also reveals the target. Here is where it flips. Your feeling of disconnection is actually your subconscious mind refusing to pay the tax of social submission. Every time you connect with someone on a superficial level, you are paying a tax. You are paying with your attention, your energy, and your mystery. Most people never realize that every explanation you give for your behavior is a form of submission. When you explain yourself, you are asking for permission to exist as you are. The disconnected man does not explain. He is a ghost in the machine. He moves through social circles without leaving a footprint. Power is not about being the loudest person in the room. Power is the ability to walk through that room, observe every weakness, understand every motive, and remain entirely unobservable yourself. This is why you feel stuck. You are trying to fit back into the mold of the relatable human when your nature is demanding that you become something far more sovereign. We must look at the mechanism of the outsider. Machiavelli understood that the prince who is loved by all is ultimately a slave to all. To be loved is to be held to an expectation. To be connected is to be tethered. The moment you are understood by the collective, you are categorized. Once you are categorized, you are controllable. Your disconnection is your greatest strategic advantage. Think of a chessboard. The pawn is deeply connected to the pieces around it. It moves in relation to them, it dies for them, and its value is entirely dependent on its position in the crowd. The king, however, is isolated. His movement is limited, yes, but his value is absolute. He is the only piece that truly matters. When you feel disconnected, you are viewing the chessboard from above, while everyone else is still arguing about which square they get to stand on. This is the part most people miss. The feeling of emptiness you associate with your isolation is not a void. It is a space. It is the necessary clearing you need to build something that isn't a replica of what everyone else is doing. Most people fail here because they mistake the silence for loneliness. Loneliness is the hunger for the presence of others. Sovereignty is the appreciation of the absence of others. If you cannot be alone with your own mind, you are not a leader. You are a refugee seeking asylum in the lives of others. Now go deeper. If you understand this, everything changes. Your disconnection is not a wall, it is a filter. When you stop trying to bridge the gap between yourself and the masses, you begin to develop a different kind of sight. You start to see the scripts people follow. The ambitious worker who is actually just terrified of his father's ghost. The charming socialite who is actually a hollow shell of insecurities. The happy couple who are merely two people terrified of being alone. When you are disconnected, you see the mechanisms of their fear, and once you see a person's fear, you own a piece of them. This is not about being edgy, this is about reality. While they are distracted by the emotions of the moment, you are analyzing the structure of the interaction. You are looking at the leverage. You are looking at who needs what from whom. Here is a concrete scenario. You are at a social gathering. Usually, you would feel a sense of dread, a longing to fit in, and a subsequent shame when you realize you don't. The sovereign response is different. You enter the room and you do not speak first. You do not smile to put others at ease. You do not offer information about your day or your life. You simply observe, you feel the disconnection, and you lean into it. You let the silence sit between you and the other person until they become uncomfortable. The person who speaks first to fill the silence is the one who is losing the power dynamic. They are revealing their need for comfort. By remaining disconnected, you are signaling that you do not need them. You are signaling that your internal world is so vast and so fortified that their presence or absence is a matter of indifference to you. This is the moment they begin to respect you, not because they like you, but because they cannot figure you out. And in the human psyche, what is unknown is always perceived as potentially dangerous. Most people are terrified of being invisible. They spend their lives shouting into the digital void, posting pictures of their meals and their vacations, desperate for a like that acts as a heartbeat checker proof that they still exist. You must embrace the status of the ghost. The ghost sees everything and is affected by nothing. The ghost does not need to be validated by the gaze of the crowd. When you feel disconnected, you are becoming a ghost to the system. You are no longer a data point they can track. You are no longer an emotional puppet they can trigger with a headline or a social trend. This is where power actually lives. Power lives in the ability to withdraw at will. If you are connected, you cannot withdraw without causing a scene. You have obligations. You have expectations to meet. You have a persona to maintain. But if you are already disconnected, you have no leash. You can disappear for a month to build a business, to master a skill, or to reconstruct your philosophy, and the world will not even know you are gone. The price of this path is the death of your ego's need for applause. You will not be the life of the party. You will not be the most popular. You will be the man who stays in the shadows until he is ready to strike, and when he does, no one saw it coming because no one was looking at him. Most people are terrified of being misunderstood. They will spend hours explaining their intentions, defending their character, and smoothing over miscommunications. They do this because they are desperate to be categorized as good, reliable, or sane within the social matrix. This is the part most people miss. The moment you are understood, you are conquered. If someone understands your motives, they can predict your moves. If they understand your values, they can manipulate your choices. If they understand your fears, they own your soul. Your feeling of disconnection is actually your subconscious building a wall of encryption around your identity. Stop trying to provide the key. The sovereign man enjoys the luxury of being a mystery. When people cannot map you, they cannot navigate around you. They must instead navigate according to you. In any social hierarchy, the person who is the most difficult to read is the person who holds the most gravity. Think of the popular person. They are a known quantity. Everyone knows what makes them laugh, what makes them angry, and what they will do for a bit of attention. They are a toy. Now think of the man who sits in the corner, speaks only when necessary, and whose internal life is a complete vacuum to the outside world. He is not a toy, he is a presence. People do not laugh at him, they watch him. They do not pity his loneliness. They fear his silence. If you understand this, everything changes. You are not disconnected, you are encrypted. Your task is not to find people who get you. Your task is to ensure that no one ever truly does. We must address the myth of emotional intelligence. The world tells you that to be connected, you must be empathetic, open, and emotionally available. This is a script written by the weak to ensure they are never hurt by the strong. It is a demand for disarmament. Emotions are the handles by which other people pull your strings. When you feel connected to someone, you are giving them a remote control to your internal state. If they are happy, you must be happy. If they are offended, you must be guilty. If they leave, you must be devastated. Your disconnection is actually an emotional quarantine. You are developing the ability to observe an emotion without becoming it. While others are drowning in the waves of social drama, you are standing on the shore, watching the tide. This is not numbness. This is discipline. The brutal truth is that most human connections are just two people using each other to regulate their own insecurities. They connect because they cannot stand the silence of their own thoughts. They use you as a mirror to convince themselves they are okay. When you refuse to play this role, they will call you cold. They will call you robotic. Accept the labels. They are the marks of your liberation. A sovereign does not seek warmth. A sovereign seeks clarity. The moment you stop needing the emotional approval of the collective is the moment you become immune to their manipulation. You are no longer a participant in their frantic search for validation. You are the one who has found a different source of power, the void. But here's the paradox. The more you withdraw, the more people will try to pull you back in. The social hive mind cannot tolerate an outlier. An outlier is a reminder that the hive is a choice, not a necessity. Your disconnection makes them uncomfortable because it highlights their own dependency. This is why you feel a strange pressure to reach out, to check in, or to perform the rituals of friendship. It is the hive trying to reattach the leash. Here is where power actually lives. You must learn to use your disconnection as a strategic tool of withdrawal. In the court of power, absence is often more effective than presence. When you are always available, you are a commodity. When you are rarely seen, and even more rarely understood, you are a phenomenon. Consider the difference between a common stone and a diamond. The stone is everywhere. It is connected to the earth, to the road, to the feet of everyone who walks. It has no value. The diamond is isolated. It is found in the dark, away from the surface, disconnected from the mundane world. Its value is a direct result of its scarcity and its distance from the common. Most people feel stuck because they are trying to be the stone, hoping that if they are good enough, someone will pick them up. The sovereign becomes the diamond. He withdraws. He settles into his isolation. He masters his craft, his mind, and his body in the dark. He does not ask for attention. He waits until his value is so undeniable that the world is forced to come looking for him. This is the part most people fail to realize. Disconnection from the outside is the prerequisite for connection to the inside. You cannot build a kingdom on land that is constantly being trampled by tourists. Your internal world, your philosophy, your goals, your darkest ambitions requires a border. It requires a no trespassing sign. The feeling of disconnection you are experiencing is the sound of the gates closing. For the first time in your life, you are starting to hear your own voice without the static of other people's opinions. Most people are nothing more than a collection of borrowed phrases and inherited fears. They think they are themselves, but they are actually just a poorly edited version of their parents, their peers, and their social media feeds. By being disconnected, you are undergoing a process of social exfoliation. The dead skin of other people's expectations is falling away. This is not a comfortable process. It feels like losing your skin. It feels raw. It feels lonely. But beneath that skin, something harder is forming. You are building an internal hierarchy where you are the sole authority. In this kingdom, there is no maybe. There is only I will or I will not. There is no I hope they like me. There is only does this serve my purpose? If you can endure the initial cold of the void, you will find that it is the only place where true creation happens. The masses create for applause. The sovereign creates for dominance. One is a performance, the other is a conquest. Now go deeper. There is a specific kind of power that comes from being invisible in a social hierarchy. Most people are fighting to be at the top of the visible pyramid. They want the title, the corner office, the flashy car, the public recognition. They want everyone to know they are winning. This is a weakness. The moment you are at the top of the visible pyramid, you are a target. Everyone below you is looking for a way to pull you down. Every eye is on your mistakes. You have no room to move. The truly powerful often choose to be disconnected from the visible hierarchy. They are the advisors, the investors, the ghosts who pull the strings from the shadows. They have all the leverage and none of the liability. When you feel disconnected from your social circle, you are actually being given the opportunity to move into the unseen layer of reality. Instead of trying to be the coolest person in the group, become the person the group relies on without even knowing it. Become the person who understands the mechanics of the situation better than the people involved. Here's the flip. While they are busy performing for each other, you are studying them. You are learning their triggers, their insecurities, and their debts. A concrete scenario: a group is arguing about a trivial matter. The weak response is to jump in, voice your opinion, and try to connect through the shared conflict. The sovereign response is to stay silent, to watch the way one person's face flushes when they are challenged, to notice the way another person looks for approval from the leader of the group. You are disconnected from the argument, but you are more connected to the truth of the situation than anyone else in the room. You have extracted the data while they have only extracted stress. Who is more powerful in that moment? The one who spoke the most or the one who learned the most? Society tells you that empathy is a virtue. They say it is the bridge that connects human souls. Here is the brutal truth. Empathy is a biological backdoor that allows others to hack your decision-making process. When you feel for someone else, you are suffering for a crime you did not commit. You are taking on the weight of a failure that is not yours. The disconnected man is an objective man. Most people are paralyzed by the emotions of those around them. They cannot make the hard choice because they are too busy feeling the pain that choice might cause. This is why they stay in failing relationships, why they tolerate incompetent employees, and why they remain tethered to toxic family members. They are connected by a chain of shared suffering. The moment you lean into your disconnection, you cut that chain. This is not cruelty. This is clarity. When you are disconnected, you can see people as they truly are, not as your emotions want them to be. You see the friend who only calls when they need a favor. You see the partner who uses guilt as a leash. You see the boss who uses company culture to extract unpaid labor. By remaining emotionally distant, you maintain your sovereignty. You on the judge. You on the judge. In the room, you can see the cliff everyone is walking toward. While the connected are too busy holding hands to notice the drop, you are the one who has already found the exit. This is where power actually lives. It lives in the ability to walk away from anything that no longer serves your path to dominance. If you feel cold, it is because you have finally stopped burning yourself to keep others warm. Most people use language to hide. They talk to fill the void, to mask their nervousness, and to project an image of confidence they don't actually possess. The sovereign man uses silence to expose. When you feel disconnected, you naturally lose the urge to participate in the small talk economy. Use this. In any interaction, the person who speaks less is the one who learns more. Silence creates a vacuum, and human nature abhors a vacuum. If you remain silent after someone speaks, they will feel a desperate, clawing need to fill that space. They will start to over-explain. They will reveal secrets they didn't intend to share. They will stutter and offer concessions you didn't even ask for. This is the paradox of the outsider. By being the one who doesn't belong, you become the one who controls the rhythm of the conversation. Stop trying to be engaging. Be a mirror. When someone speaks to you, do not offer a relatable story in return. Give them a short, declarative sentence, and then look them in the eyes. Wait, watch the mask slip. You will realize that most people are terrified of being alone with their own words. Your disconnection is a weapon that forces them to face themselves. In that confrontation, they will always view you as the authority, because you are the only one who isn't sweating. Many of you feel disconnected because you are looking for friends when you should be looking for allies. The word friend implies an emotional debt. It implies a connection based on shared history, shared hobbies, or shared weaknesses. This is the realm of the pawn. Pawns have friends. Sovereigns have an inner circle. If you feel disconnected from everyone around you, it is because your internal frequency has shifted. You are no longer compatible with the low-vibration gossip and immediate gratification that defines modern social life. You are looking for people who speak the language of power, and those people are rare. They are also, like you, likely hiding in plain sight. Here is how you identify them. Look for the others who are comfortable in the silence. Look for the ones who don't seek attention. Look for the ones who, like you, seem to be watching the room rather than playing in it. Do not try to connect with them through vulnerability. Connect with them through competence. In the world of the sovereign, respect is the only currency that matters. You don't need to like each other. You don't need to know each other's childhood traumas. You only need to know that the other person is a person of their word, a person of discipline, and a person who understands the cost of power. Everything else is noise. Everything else is a liability. Now we reach the final realization. The world treats isolation as a prison. They want you to fear it because as long as you fear being alone, they can control you. They can threaten you with cancellation, with exclusion, and with loneliness. But once you embrace your disconnection, the prison becomes a laboratory. In the silence of your isolation, you are performing alchemy on your own soul. You are taking the lead of your frustrations, your insecurities, and your invisible status, and you are refining them into the gold of self-mastery. Think of the great thinkers of history, the Stoics, the strategists, the hermits who changed the world. None of them were connected to the trends of their time. They were all, to a man, profoundly disconnected from the masses. They understood that the mind cannot reach its full potential while it is being constantly interrupted by the trivialities of the collective. Your feeling of disconnection is the environment your potential requires to grow. It is the sterile room where the operation takes place. If you let the world back in too early, you will infect the process. You will go back to being a nice guy, a team player, a good person, and you will die with your potential still locked inside you, unrefined and unused. Are you willing to pay the price of being a ghost? Are you willing to watch your old social life burn so that you can walk out of the ashes as someone they no longer recognize? Most people will say yes, but they will crumble the moment the weekend comes and they aren't invited to the party. They will fold the moment they see their peers succeeding in the traditional visible ways. You must be different. You must find pride in the fact that they don't understand you. You must find power in the fact that you don't need them. The person you were 10 minutes ago, the person who felt sad about their disconnection, the person who felt lonely or broken is dead. I have just handed you the autopsy report. That person died because they were trying to breathe underwater. They were trying to find life in a social system that is designed to drain it. To continue mourning that version of yourself is a waste of your newfound sovereignty. You are no longer a victim of isolation. You are the architect of your own detachment. The masses are currently scrolling, seeking, and sweating for a moment of connection that will be forgotten by tomorrow morning. You are here, in the cold, building a version of yourself that is immune to their influence. You are not one of them. You never were. The disconnect you felt was simply your body rejecting a poison. Look around you. The world is full of people who are terrified to be alone with their own thoughts. They are the connected. They are the included. And look at them, stressed, medicated, insecure, and entirely predictable. They are the herd. By feeling disconnected, you have been promoted. You have been moved from the field to the watchtower. From the tower, you can see the storm coming long before the herd feels the first drop of rain. This is the elite perspective. It is lonely at the top, not because the climb is hard, but because the air is too thin for the weak lunge to survive. If you can breathe here, you belong here. This knowledge is irreversible. You cannot unsee the wires. You cannot unhear the scripts. If you have understood the weight of what has been said here, you are no longer a participant in the common delusion. You are now a sovereign in training. To signal your alignment with this new identity, leave a comment below with a single word, sovereign. Do not explain why. Do not share your story. Do not seek validation from the other commenters. Just leave the mark.